The Chiropractic Philanthropist, episode 252.
When they go to that website, if there's nothing there to greet them, if there's no human there to greet them, the studies show that less than 5 out of 100 of those visitors will actually contact the business, which is horrible because that's a lot of money.
Starting your own practice is hard for many chiropractors. It's riddled with both struggles and successes. But here at the Chiropractic Philanthropist, we make it easy by having chiropreneurs and entrepreneurs share their struggles and lessons learned in life and business so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. And now here's your host, Dr. Ed Osborne.
My guest today on the Chiropractic Philanthropist is Jay Rice. Jay is a technology entrepreneur, marketer, and adventure traveler. He has worked with such organizations as Intel, IBM, Wal-Mart, Dell, NASA, and Raytheon. He has even taken his skills to the Department of Defense, and now he is taking his knowledge and know-how to help chiropractors. In 2013, his idea for software that could turn website visitors into qualified leads proved so successful that he sold the imaging components business, and in 2015, he took his software invention with him. His company is now called Thinking Chat, and it has a unique product that helps chiropractors significantly increase the number of new patients that they see. Now, you can actually go and check out Jay's website at thinkingchat.com/chiropractors. Now let's go ahead and thank our sponsor for today's episode, and that is ChiroClicker. It is the world's first chiropractic adjusting toy for kids. It allows children to play chiropractors at home, pretending to adjust their family and all their teddies and dolls. Chiropractors can buy the ChiroClicker in bulk and sell them in their practice or give them away to practice members. TCP listeners get a 10% discount by using the coupon code TCP10 at chiroclicker.com. That's ChiroClicker, nurturing the next generation of chiropractors. I'm excited for this episode. You know what? I'm excited for every episode, but I'm really excited about this one because I get to talk about a few things. One of them is about actually creating a presence, or more of a presence online, and actually helping more chiropractors grow their practice in a way that's really kind of effortless. And I love to help chiropractors. I mean, that's what we're all about here on The Philanthropist. Before we get started, Jay, I want you to share a little bit about, who are you personally, like as a person? Who are you also in terms of as an entrepreneur?
Sure, absolutely. So if you ask my two daughters, I'm just a big goof that coaches soccer and is a disciplinarian and is their dad that does this business stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm a dad. That's one of my main identities. But of course, I am an entrepreneur. I'm a husband. I started at a young age, having my own businesses, and I guess my biggest mentor and inspiration was my grandfather. The guy was rock solid. He was had brought himself up, by the proverbial bootstraps. And so I always wanted to have my own business. And, I was fortunate to do that. I was in the corporate world for a while, got out of the corporate world, and then I started a company that was selling primarily military technology back in the Great Recession, really the worst recession ever of our generation. But from there, started Thinking Chat.
And so tell us a little bit about that military. Can you tell us about the military?
Sure. Yeah, I can. Yeah, there are certain things I cannot. I was actually part of some classified programs, which were pretty cool. So I had this business, and it was, as many businesses are, it was tough going at first. It was stressful. There was a lot of sleepless nights. But I just kept going with it. I just kept working at it. And I started to grow the business. We were able to get 7 figures in business within a few years, and some big military contracts, Department of Defense contracts. But the other thing was I didn't have much of a website presence at first, and then I started to really invest in my online presence. And again, that's when things really turned around. I was able to get my website and allow it to become one of the top 100,000 websites, which was great. However, I had another problem, which a lot of business owners don't know about, and which I'm going to mention today because I think it'll really help out a lot of docs. And that is that despite the fact that I had a lot of traffic to my website, I didn't have very good conversion of website traffic into visitors. So I found out that the average is usually less than 2%. Even the best websites on average are less than 5 out of 100 visitors contacting the business. So I had that issue, and I also had a lot of, quote, bad leads that came to the site. And I decided that I was going to do something about it. And there was nothing on the market at that time. So I did what a good entrepreneur would do, and I created a solution, a technology solution that became Thinking Chat.
I got to tell you, I mean, there's something about this too that I really like. We're going to talk about a little bit about artificial intelligence here in a minute.
Yes.
There's a lot of talk right now, especially with chiropractors, about funnels, creating funnels and putting people into your funnel and capturing their email and doing this and doing that. And it seems like a long, lengthy process to finally get someone to walk in your door. It seems like what you're doing at Thinking Chat actually bypasses all of that. You capture these people's leads and you actually can get on the phone and call them right away, or I should say your CA can. Can you tell us a little bit about, what is it exactly that's happening here with this?
Sure, absolutely. So what it's doing is, now I'm sure that your listeners, they've seen live chat obviously on a website. So what I decided to do and what we have today is from that initial idea that I had, it literally started as a joke. What if I could clone myself? That's really something I sketched out in the back of a napkin at a restaurant. And in 2013, we had our first MVP, so minimum viable product. 2014, we went live. And if you think of, if you could clone your best answers to the common questions that you actually get, and you could actually hire essentially a robot to answer those questions for you and greet your website visitor, it would be a game changer. And that's exactly what I've done, and that's what I've discovered. So back in 2014, I put this technology on my website. It transformed my conversion, and I was also able to get better quality leads, and I was able to get some of my life back and my time back. So I thought, everybody can use this. We put it on one external website, the first external website in 2014, and this company made high-end microscopes. Within 90 days, our AI agent captured a lead from Apple Computer, resulted in a sale for over $74,000.
Finally, we have this for chiropractors then.
Yes.
I told you this story in whether it was our pre-chat or one of the calls that you and I had, and my wife is a chiropractor, but she was a CA far before, way back before she was a chiropractor. And I remember when we were dating and we were on this bus, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. We're driving on this bus. She's a CA. And I remember this ringing sound coming from her backpack. Like, this is like back when there's cell phones were like really unheard of back then.
Right.
She pulls out this massive brick phone, puts it to her ear, answers the phone. I thought it was, wow, this is so cool. And she starts, she basically answers it like she was answering at the office. See, this is kind of the first thing that came up for me when you mentioned what your service is, because I'm like, well, this is a no-brainer, because now you actually have someone 24/7 who can actually answer, using this technology, answer that call, right? And collect that information, and actually then you can retrieve that and get back to those potential new leads. Because let's face it, business is business. And it all relies on leads, and we're losing so many people that just bounce in and out of our website when we're not there.
Exactly right. And just to clarify, it's for a website. So this technology, Thinking Chat, our AI agents, what they do is they essentially clone that after-hours answering service that your wife used to be and that many offices used to have, and some still do. But these days, as you know, people look for new chiropractic services if they have a symptom of something, if there's some problem with their disc, like I've had, or other things like that. They'll Google it, and they'll find a chiropractor online. And when they go to that website, if there's nothing there to greet them, if there's no human there to greet them, the studies show that less than 5 out of 100 of those visitors will actually contact the business, which is horrible, because that's a lot of money that's just going up in smoke and just leaving that site, maybe going to a competitor and never returning. So what this does is it basically gives the human touch by greeting the website visitor, encouraging them to enter their name and email, and it goes into a mini routine of pre-scripted Q&A of what that business can do to help that visitor, and then it sends all their information to the doc or their staff for follow-up to book an appointment.
Yeah, let's clarify. It's not my wife answering the phone on the bus.
That's right.
Exactly. But that's the other thing too, is this is always was a big, I was always looking at our analytics on our site. So,
Sure.
I would see people coming in and I would see them leaving just as quickly. we work so hard, I would hope that, as chiropractors, we work so hard to actually get people to our website that we really do want to capture their intention, but also capture their information. I mean, truly, if we want to help and serve more people, this is what we need to be doing. So I love that this is a way, way, way ahead of the curve. And now you also have a couple different ways that chiropractors can learn more about what you're doing. What does that offer?
Yeah, so we have a special offer, and especially for your listeners too. If you go to our website, thinkingchat.com/chiropractors, okay, you can find out more about this. You can see our video. You can actually have a demo that shows you what it's like if a visitor goes to the site. But you can also sign up there. Right now we have it free for 2 weeks, not even a credit card required. You can sign up and you can try this on your site. And if you mention that you are a listener of Dr. Ed, what we'll do additionally is we'll actually give a complimentary quick start call and additionally complimentary customized response in addition to what you already get. So in other words, you get a package of responses that we've tailored so you don't have to do any heavy lifting. It doesn't matter if you don't even know how to turn on a computer. If you're still using AOL, it doesn't matter. We take care of the heavy lifting, me and my elves, I like to say. However, if you're a listener of Dr. Ed, we'll go that extra mile for you and allow you to actually enter some things that are in addition to the chiropractic dialogue that you get. So maybe it's services, maybe it's weight loss, maybe it's decompression machine, whatever that might be.
Yeah, and I mean, I got to clarify too, is that, or just add to this, is that every time that I'm just always huge on getting time back. Like I'm not a big time waster, and so yeah, if I go to a website and I'm looking, because I buy everything, even my car's online now. But if I go to a website and I can't get an answer, I can't get connect with someone right away, then I just go to the next site.
Right.
I use this type of technology all the time, but I want to, and this is a question, I guess. So often when I'm using those, I mean, that is someone who's actually on the other end that's answering that. But this is actually even better because now it's something that is much more affordable because it's actually, it's artificial intelligence.
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. That's a good point. So that's another thing. So your listeners, and you've probably seen this too, you've probably gone to a website and you've seen the start of a live chat, and you might have seen some things that are automated. Now, 99% of the time what you're seeing out there, if it's not ours, out there powering the site, you're seeing the intro to a live chat agent. Now, with our technology, we're really the only company that has this AI that's completely human operator free, and it's packaged for chiropractors. So in other words, there's no human. There's no doctor, there's no doctor staff manning a chat window. However, the website visitor believes it's a real person more than 90% of the time. So what happens is that visitor is interacting with this agent who they believe is a real person, and all of that information is captured and sent by email from our system to the doctor and their staff so that they can book the appointment. And it gets their time back because they can actually choose when they follow up. They can find out if the visitor, if it's an urgent issue, if they're in pain or things like that. So absolutely, it allows you to put more time and more life in your day.
So I want to just, add a couple other things too. One of them I'm going to ask you about in a moment. I'll just leave a hook here, is some resources that you find are incredibly valuable in building your online presence and business. But Jay, right now, today, like right now, what is most important in terms of how we can actually, as chiropractors, get more traffic? So actually get people to our site. What would you recommend?
Great, that's a good question. So here are some resources. First of all, if you're not doing search engine optimization or SEO, you really want to be doing that. And the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that it takes time for that investment to pay off. I mean, it sometimes takes up to a year for it to pay off. And you really want to go to an SEO firm that does what's called white hat. And you want to make sure, you want to emphasize that, because black hat is really scary. And what happens, so black hat is almost like spammy links on your site, things like that. So it's more about, with SEO, it's more about quality than it is about quantity. And that's a difficult thing for a lot of people who invest in SEO to realize, is they want fast results, but if you get them too fast, you could get what's called Google slapped, and you could actually get your site penalized and in trouble. So you have to be careful. So what I always suggest is that you want to do things in parallel. You want to absolutely get search engine optimization going on your site. And there's a big discussion on forums like Quora and sites like that, where they say, well, is SEO dead because you have Facebook and all these other social media? SEO is not dead, because the fact is you own your website. That's an asset of your business. You don't own Facebook, even though you have a Facebook page. You're renting that, or you're using that, but you want to get people to your site. The other way to do it is Google AdWords. So there's resources I would suggest is there's a free coupon, and you can Google this. You can get a free coupon. I think it's $75 to try Google AdWords. And you can get that right away. And the other resources, there's a great book by a guy named Perry Marshall. You can get on Amazon for like $25. It's called, I think it's called the Ultimate AdWords Guide, I believe it's called. It's a really great book. Now, the reason you should read this is if you want to do it yourself, you can do it yourself just with this book easily, with probably a few hours investment. But even if you don't have the time to do it yourself, you will be more educated as a consumer and buyer of these services if you use that. So that's the first thing. And the other thing you want to do is you want to check out, I would suggest actually this Search Engine News, which is used to be called Planet Ocean, which is, I've gotten a lot of my search engine optimization certifications from, which is phenomenal. It's all white hat, really good people. They know what they're doing. They're way ahead of the curve. And then there's also a site called Digital Marketer by a guy named Ryan Dice, who's a popular marketer. You've probably heard of him. I've met him a couple times. Really good guy. And for I think it's $20 a month, you can get access to some things about AdWords and SEO, and it'll really open your eyes.
Yeah, Ryan Dice. Yeah, I think it was $30, $35, and every month he was on just loading up new information, because the landscape in online business and websites and just the online world just changes every day, it seems. So yeah, his very quality content. So listeners, you can actually head over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com. We're going to have a webpage dedicated to our discussion with Jay Rice today as well. We're going to have all the clickable links, so you can actually click on those. Go ahead and actually check out that 2-week free trial. And if you're listening on your mobile phone, like 60% of you are, just go ahead and actually expand open those show notes, and those clickable links are right there, and you can connect with Jay right now. Okay, Jay, before we kind of wrap up this quick podcast today, I want to, we had this discussion also in our pre-chat. What sort of results are people seeing, professionals seeing with this type of service?
Sure, yeah. So we're in about a dozen different verticals, as I said. And so we've got chiropractors we've dedicated to for about 3 months dedicated to. And so we went back, I just polled a number of our chiropractors. And one of them is actually who's been with us for over a year. He added an additional 9,616 British pounds worth of business just from leads that came in from Thinking Chat. Now, before Brexit, that was about $20,000. It's not worth as much these days. But the funny thing is, he doesn't even have that much traffic on his website at all. So that was one. There was another guy, Dr. Amit, who's in Canada. He does AdWords to his site. He just signed up last week. He's already got 5 inquiries just in I think his agent's been live for about 3 days. So that's pretty incredible. I mean, those are warm leads ready to be booked as patients. We've got another doctor, Dr. Jerry, who he just told me, we did a little survey, and he has gotten 12 new patients, and he's only been with us, I think, a few months. And his patients are patient value up to $5,000 per patient. So that's pretty incredible right there. And then there's others, from other niches we're in. I mean, like our original launching customer with the microscope business is up to about $700,000 in revenue, last I checked, just from leads from Thinking Chat. So I wish this for all of your listeners, and really I'll do everything I can to help them be successful. They do need some traffic on their website, though. We do recommend at least a minimum of 350 visitors per month, and usually 500 to 1,000, and it works extremely well.
Yeah, and this is something, again, that I'll kind of hit on, is that, even yesterday I had a chiropractor who emailed me, and he said, look, we're really trying to dial this in, and we're finally starting to see some traffic getting to our website. Ed, how can you help us actually start to convert these people where they're actually starting to jump on our email? That's the typical, right? They're like, how do we capture their email so we can start to build our email list? Whereas really, these are people who are actually interested in your services. So why not just, go from A to C and just skip that middle step and do this? So it's all about capturing attention.
True, true. And I'll just add to that so with our agent, you do get their name and email, and the agent asks for phone number as well. And we are connected to third-party services like what's called Infusionsoft, Aweber is another one, MailChimp. So how cool is it to actually have a discussion, let's say over a weekend or a holiday when the office is closed, but a lead will come in, a new prospective patient. They'll have a conversation with the agent virtually, and then an email can already be sent out with new patient forms and things like that before the staff even comes into to work on Monday.
Beautiful. I love it. So again, listeners, head over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com. We'll have links to all these resources today. And Jay, I got to thank you for coming on the podcast today. The Philanthropist, we're all about really giving back. I mean, that's our theme here actually with the podcast. And part of giving back is really helping support chiropractors in their success and have more confidence in practice. So I want to thank you for being on the and bringing you just unique value. I love this discussion. 260 episodes I've done, and I've never had anyone come on and talk about anything even close to what you're doing. So way ahead of the curve.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So you've heard the struggles, you've heard the successes, and this episode is done. But there's still so much more to come and so much more to learn. Head on over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive free practice building tips and strategies, including how to market your practice with your very own podcast and so much more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on The Chiropractic Philanthropist.